Well, today is the final day of the Devolution Conference 2025 that has been taking place in Homabay County. And with that, a lot of discussions have taken place in the county as all the 47 counties converged in Homabay. Our reporter and my colleague Jesse Rogers is in Homabay County to just bring us up to speed on what is happening on ground. Good afternoon to you, Jesse. How is Homabay County? And as we understand, the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki will be closing down the conference that has been taking place there. Just what has been the discussions that have taken place in the county, and also moving forward, what are some of the agreements that the governors pretty much have agreed will implement? Rogers.
Well, Aseto, we're getting you live and clear from Homabay County. A lot is happening on the final day of the Devolution Conference. And of course, as KTN, we're here to bring you up to speed, plug into the conversations, even as we await the final declarations from this year's Devolution Conference. You mentioned that the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki will be closing this ceremony officially. That's in just but a few minutes, and we'll be crossing over to the main event, which is right behind me. But as we mentioned earlier, our viewers need to know that this is a beehive of activities. So many conversations going on right here. Matters to do with devolution, where stakeholders, partners, non-governmental actors, including the government itself, county and national level, are churning into the conversation and giving their take. Now, right now, I want to speak to one of the stakeholders who are playing a part in this particular devolution conference. This is the CEO of the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association, and he's joining me right now, Anthony Buluma. Thank you so much for your time. Karibu sana to KTN. Perhaps let's do this briefly. First of all, how is KYPA empowering young parliamentarians in order to strengthen devolution and matters to do with oversight?
Thank you for having me. First is just to point out that we exist in a space where 70% of the country's population are young people. We also exist in a space where devolution has transferred most of the powers to counties in terms of powers and resources. So as a Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association, one of the things we are trying to do is amplify the voices of young people across the legislative structures of governance. At the county assembly level, we proudly helped create what we call the Kenya Young Members of County Assemblies. Kenya is privileged to have a majority of members of county assemblies elected across the country to be young. And we are leveraging that to make sure that the voices of young people are amplified in counties, because you realize that, and it's coming out even from the conversations that are ongoing, that a lot of resources and services that have been devolved in counties affect the young people even more. If you talk about agriculture, you talk about healthcare, all these are spaces where young people are in. So we have to make sure that we have both our feet in the devolved structure of governance, and at the association level, we are pushing for pro-youth legislations across all structures of government. We are pushing for budget, youth-focused budgeting at the county level and at the national level. And we are also advocating for more youth inclusion and representation, building from what the Gen Zs tried to say last year during the protest, that they need a space at the table. And it is our duty, the few young members who are in parliament, to enable that space for young people to be at the table, at the devolved structure, and even at the national level.
That's really proper. And it goes without saying that if you're not at the table, then you're part of the menu. Correct. So it's really proper to include youth in these ongoing conversations. Yes. But let's pin the developments right here in Homabay County. We've heard that the prevalence of malaria in Homabay County was quite high. Yes. A lot has been down to bring the levels, I think it's to roughly 3% right now. Yes. It was as high as 16-17% thereabout. Talk to us about some of the work being done by stakeholders, including KYPA, to make this a success.
So KYPA is part of the Zero Malaria Coalition campaign coalition, and part of what we were doing early in the day was interacting with first-hand case feedback from different counties on what they are doing to help end malaria. And Homabay is proving to be one of the model counties that other counties should learn from, moving malaria from 17 to 3%. I mean, that's a major progress. And I feel like it's because they're getting it right on the preventive, component of it as opposed to the curative, because they're putting measures in place to help prevent. Because you know the prevalence here is it used to be quite high, but as one of the endemic counties in Kenya, they have done very well. And I think part of what was also happening today, and it's something that we will carry on, is one, we are trying to push for more young people to get engaged in this conversation of ending malaria, because most of them are victims. Number two, learning, peer-to-peer learning amongst counties has proved to be a model that is workable, because like when the CECs were sharing what measures they're putting in place in their counties, you could actually see there's a lot to learn from each other. And I think one of the takeaways from this Devolution conference would be for us to really encourage counties to do a lot of peer-to-peer exchanges, because there are counties that are doing extremely well, there are counties that are still lagging behind. Look at even just the infrastructural development in Homabay. It's not the Homabay we used to know. And I feel like devolution is really a blessing to this country if we tighten all the loose ends to make sure that we reduce on mismanagement of resources and maximize on development. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I'm pretty sure you're busy with the final day right here at the Devolution conference. Looking forward to more conversations. That's the CEO of the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association, Anthony Buluma, just giving us his take on some of the keynote things that stand out during this year's Devolution conference that's being hosted right here in Homabay County. We'll be crossing live a little bit later on to the main event where the final declarations from this particular conference will be given. But right now I want to cross over to my colleague Daniel Karaoke, who'll be joining us from the other side of Homabay High School. He'll be having a conversation with the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Let's listen to what he has to say. Daniel.
Right, thank you very much, Jesse Rogers, on the other side of the Devolution conference that is ongoing here in Homabay. Just like you have put it, we are still waiting for Deputy President Kithure Kindiki to officially close this conference. But again, we are getting just some views and also a sneak preview of what has been happening on the side meetings that has been taking place, where panels have been engaged in different discussions. And right now I want to engage Ken Onditi, who is a national, he's going to tell us actually. Thank you very much for joining us here on KTN, and definitely the Devolution conference here in Homabay County is the last day. What can you talk about, and maybe what have you taken from this Devolution conference for the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce?
Thank you. My name is Ken Onditi, National Director, Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I'm the one in charge of all 6 counties of Nyanza. Today we were discussing empowering SME through sustainable financing in Hall 4. I'm being flagged here by our Vice Chair, Doroso Uso, who is Vice Chair of Homabay Chapter, and Bishop Teresa Korinda, who is leader of the Women in Business. So I would like to say and tell people that it was quite interesting, and we got a lot of knowledge. We discussed on how to empower SME through sustainable financing. We on the panel were with the KRA Commissioner, we were with the Director from East African Breweries, we were with also ILO Coordinator and Vice Chancellor of Tom Mboya University. We've discussed that the challenge the SME have is the gap between them and the finance. And we've discussed that Tom Mboya University will act as our center for training our SME. The Vice Chancellor has offered to make young entrepreneurs, starters up, people who are starting the business to be trained there, which we are going to take the lead through ILO, and also we've agreed with the KRA to make people understand them, because they are there to empower our entrepreneurs. Yeah, they are not there to harass the business, except that people are not compliant. So through Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and with all this partnership, we are saying that we are good to go. People have learned a lot, and our SME are going to be put somewhere. Like today, we are going to sign MOU with the Council of Governors regarding the same, because our SMEs are the backbone of this economy. Right. And if we train them, if we have finance, we give them finance, they can access finance, that's when the business will grow. We've also learned agriculture. We have so many students who are going to university and not taking the courses of agriculture. And that's why it has come out that Egerton University, the agriculture courses have collapsed because our students don't want to take agriculture. Through Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and through other bodies we partnered with, we are going to mobilize for the students, and we are going to tell them the essence and the need, and also urge them that agriculture is one course whereby if our students take, then the economy will go through agriculture.
Yes, of course, you've talked about the youth being involved in the SMEs and so on. And some of the people we've spoken to, the youth, feel like they have not been involved in this devolution, really. They have found themselves also not on the panel discussions. Maybe are you, what are you saying about implementing this discussion and maybe the solutions that you have had in your discussion in future?
I don't think it is true that they have not been involved, because the first day, I think on Sunday or Monday, I was not here, but the Council of Governors had set aside a day for the youth, whereby they discussed a lot, and it was televised everywhere, and they ventilated all their needs, how they want to go forward. So probably, maybe it is not true, but the youths are the backbone of the economy of Kenya. As far as I'm concerned, they are involved.
Thank you very much for giving us just insights of what has been happening and what you've discussed. And of course, we are looking forward to see exactly those issues you've mentioned about the agriculture and the SMEs with the youth being implemented. Thank you very much. Of course, that is Ken Onditi from the Kenya National Chambers of Commerce and Industry telling us just insights of what has been happening at the side or on the sideline of the Devolution Conference, the main event that has been going on here in Homabay County. But for now, I want to hand it back to studio.
Thank you, Kariuki, for that report. A little bit later, shall be heading back there as the Deputy President, Kithure Kindiki, will be present to close this ceremony. But now let's take a short commercial break. We'll be back with much more.